While the deal insight surface, let's start chatting with the deal context. A prompt that I use mostly to start off any conversation is something as simple as summarize this deal for me. This helps me understand if the model has really understood and extracted the deal facts as it is, and it understands the context of the deal. So let's see what it has to say. The first response may take time because it has to go through the entire graph on the back end, and now it starts to stream the response. So let's see. Here's a concise overview of where we stand. So the model understands that it is a deal which is in the POC stage. It understands who are the different stakeholders involved in the deal, who are the different companies involved in the deal, what is the scope of the POC, the deliverables, the timeline, current status, pending items, and the next steps. It also concludes with a quick summary. Now, there are different ways how I can interact with this towards the next step. Now, let's say I need help with finalizing the POC success criteria because I've initiated the POC, but the success criteria is not defined. And if I don't define it, maybe the POC will just become an ambiguous activity that we did with the prospect, and we are not able to infer if the POC was a success or a failure. So all I have to do is copy this because why not? It's good to be lazy. Help me with this next step. The exact help that I need is A, drafting the right email that I can use to ship this out to the prospect, and second, a document that clearly articulates what are the POC success criteria, and I want it to be extremely contextual to the scope of the POC, the discussion we have had so far, what challenges we have run into internally in terms of integrations, resource availabilities, timelines, approvals needed, and so on. So as you can see, it took a moment to think through it, and then it is streaming the response. Now, while it streams the response, it gives me an approach of how I can lock down the POC success criteria. It gives me a plan where it says I have to conduct a workshop, who are the different stakeholders, prepare a draft criteria, and it also gives me how to structure the draft criteria, who are the different people who will be responsible for different KPI measurements, the mechanics. It helps me with the workshop agenda, and it finally helps me understand, okay, how do I formalize it and distribute it? Help me draft the mail that I can use to send this on the email. Now I have a plan. What I need is a mail body and the attachment that I have to use in that email and ship it out. It helps me with the subject line, the template of the email with all the details. Now, I know that all salespeople have their own language, style of writing, and it's really hard to get confidence on an AI product to be able to send out an email directly to a prospect. But we are not saying that you should send it out yourself. What we are saying is that you should review the template, make changes to it as you see fit, and then send it out. But at least it's a great starting point, and it helps me save precious cognitive load so that I can focus on multiple deals. One thing to note here, I am signed in as Pratyush. In this case, it is using a different person because the deal context mentions that the deal is being run by a different person and not me personally. So this is just a test deal, hence calling that out. Okay, now I have the mail ID. Now mail draft. Now let me ask you to build a template for the attachment. Help me build the attachment that I can send out along with it. The attachment is a document discussing the POC, scope, timelines, owners, and measurement KPIs for each of the scope items. So just a simple prompt to give it a sense of how I would want to structure the information within the attachment. Super. So now, like I said, this is still an early stage product. So right now, it will help you get a really strong content that you can use to copy, paste into a draft, and then format it as per your wish. As we see more usage and as we invest in the product, you will be able to do a lot of these things natively in the product. But at least it gives you a very contextual construct to start off with, save time and effort, and proceed with the deal. At any given point in time, if you don't like the output, you can give feedback, the model will learn, and it will optimize its responses later on. You can give a good response or a bad response. So that was a quick way for you to understand how to build the deal context, how to start a conversation, and extract some value from Uplift. As we come to the deal page, we can also see that the deal insights have been surfaced. So some deal insights that it calls out start with the risks. So as it highlighted internally in the chat also, one of the risks is POC outcomes are not formal and measurable at the moment. There are a lot of ad hoc chain requests that are coming in. All of us have seen that fairly often while we deal with enterprises. There is a lack of documented sign-off process, a lot of upstream qualification around budget allocations and budget owners have not been done. So that is also a risk for this. It gives you a quick tactic on how to mitigate each of these risks, do org mapping, and it also publishes the different deal timelines of what are the different stages as the deal progress. That's it, friends. I hope this is of value and you're able to extract value from Uplift. Until then, bye bye.